So Trump went to Canada. This is the guy that I'm not sure if he got elected or whatnot, but he's in charge of Canada.
All right.
Trump's there.
Mr. President, welcome to Canada. Thank you. It's a great honor. Happy birthday. A few days short.
A little bit.
A few days short, but didn't have a chance to see you on the day. Happy birthday to the U.S. military as well, 250th, and this is the 50th birthday, if you will, of the G7. This marks the 50th birthday of the G7, and the G7 is
Trudeau 2.0
U.S. leadership, and your personal leadership of the United States, many issues, geopolitics, economic, technology, and working hand in hand with the United States, Canada, the United States, and the other G7 partners with your leadership. Very much looking forward to the meeting and grateful to have you.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it, and we've developed a very
Carney seems really uncomfortable. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like biased. Maybe I'm in a righty echo chamber. He looks uncomfortable to me.
good relationship, and we're going to be talking about trade and many other things. And we have a whole group of people, some traders and some other people. I see my top economy people. But we have a very talented group of people, and you do too, and I know they work together very well. I look forward to that. The G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in.
Oh boy, how long is this? Bro, we're going to get 7 minutes straight of this. Yes. And the Canadian guy doesn't say shit until the very end. We're just going to get 7 minutes of this. This is hilarious.
And I would say that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in. And you wouldn't have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago. But
he's in Canada saying this to the Canadian Prime Minister's face. In Canada. This is driving the Canadians that hate Trump crazy. I don't know if they're going to survive the night.
it didn't work out that way. But it used to be the G8, and now it's, I guess, what's that, 8 years ago, it switched over. They threw Russia out, which I claimed was a very big mistake. Even though I wasn't in politics then, I was very loud about it. It was a mistake in that you spend so much time talking about Russia, and he's no longer at the table, so it makes life more complicated. But you wouldn't have had the war. Other than that, I think we're going to accomplish a lot, and I expect to. And I think our primary focus will be trade, and trade with Canada. And I'm sure we can work something out.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so much. Thank you very much.
Mr. Burns, Prime Minister. Oh, that's funny.
What is holding up a deal with Canada from your perspective?
It's not so much holding up. I think we have different concepts. I have a tariff concept, and Mark has a different concept, which is something that some people like. But we're going to see if we can get to the bottom of it today. I'm a tariff person. I've always been a tariff. It's simple, it's easy, it's precise, and it just goes very quickly. And I think Mark has a more complex idea, but also very good. So we're going to look at both, and we're going to see what we're going to come out with something, hopefully.
Do you think a deal is achievable within days, within weeks? Is there that kind of runway?
Yeah, it's achievable. Both parties have to agree. Yeah, sure.
Mr. President, have you heard any signals or seen any messages from intermediaries that Iran wishes to de-escalate the conflict?
Yeah.
What have you heard? What have you heard from the Iranians?
They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days, and they had 60 days, and on the 61st day, I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war, and they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
Oh, dude! That's like in the history books. That's in the history books. Especially with whatever happens with Iran. This is like, Trump is not fucking around. 61 days, there's no deal. Now Iran's getting fucking bombed.
What would you say, in your opinion, what would it take for the U.S. to get involved in this conflict militarily?
I don't want to talk about that.
And you mentioned Putin. Do you think that he should have a seat at the G7 today, that it should be the G8?
I'm not saying he should at this point, because too much water's gone over the dam, maybe. But it was a big mistake. Obama didn't want them, and the head of your country, the proud head of your country, didn't want them. This was a big mistake. You wouldn't have that war. You know, you have your enemy at the table. Even I don't even consider him. He wasn't really an enemy at that time. There was no concept. If I were president, this war would have never happened. But likewise, if
He
you
loves
were
saying
a
that.
member of what was
He
called...
always has to say it every time he gives a speech. I'm always going to point it out. He says it every single day, probably 8 times a day. If I was president, that war would have never happened. He loves saying that. He says it every day. I think he's going to say it every day for the next 4 years at least.
called the G8 at that time. It was always the G8. You wouldn't have a war right now.
Why not?
What intelligence support are you providing Israel?
We've always supported Israel. We have for a long period of time, strongly. And Israel's doing very well right now.
Why not have China at the G8? Why not have China here, the biggest economy in the world after the United States?
Well, it's not a bad idea. I don't mind that. If somebody wants to suggest China coming in, I think we suggest. But you want to have people that you can talk to. You know, they don't talk. Putin speaks to me. He doesn't speak to anybody else. He doesn't want to talk because he was very insulted when he got thrown out of the G8. As I would be, as you would be, as anybody would be. He was very insulted. And, I mean, he was thrown out by Trudeau, who convinced 1 or 2 people, along with Obama. He was thrown out, and he's not a happy person about it, I can tell you that.
See, like, everyone always takes this and blows it way out of proportion when he talks about this stuff. He says, hey, I think kicking Putin out of the G8 was a stupid idea, and it led to war. And then they're asked, well, should he be brought back on? And he's like, nah, I don't think so at this point. Too much water over the dam, meaning like all this war and all this stuff that's happened since now is probably not a good idea, but it shouldn't have. Like, I think Trump just feels very strongly with how things were supposed to happen. And I feel like a lot of his plans, because he didn't get elected, didn't go through. That's kind of the vibe I'm always getting from him with this stuff. But is it true that like there wouldn't be a war under Trump? I mean, I don't know. I'd like to think so. You know, it seems likely. You know, I don't think Trump would have kicked out or you know, basically ruffled the feathers of Russia and allowed them to do stuff like that. I don't know. I think that Trump just definitely sees a lot of things went wrong, and now he's stuck cleaning up a mess. That's at least how he feels about it.
He basically doesn't even speak to the people that threw him out, and I agree with him. Go ahead.
On immigration, why are you ordering ICE to target Democratic inner cities? What's behind that?
I don't know what you're saying.
You did a post last night where you said you want ICE to really target Democratic...
Yeah, I want them to focus on the cities, because the cities are where you really have what's called sanctuary cities, and that's where the people are. I look at New York, I look at Chicago. I mean, you got a really bad governor in Chicago and a bad
Here he is
mayor.
talking shit
But
again.
the governor's probably the worst in the country, Pritzker. But I look at how that city has been overrun by criminals. And, you know, New York and L.A., look at L.A. L.A., those people weren't from L.A. They weren't from California, most of those people, many of those people. And, yeah, that's a focus. Biden allowed 21 million people to come into our country. Of that, vast numbers of those people were murderers, killers, people from gangs, people from jails. They emptied their jails out into the U.S. Most of those people are in the cities, all blue cities, all blue cities, all Democrat-run cities, and they think they're going to use them to vote. It's not going to happen.
I forgot the prime minister was even there. I actually forgot because I was just listening to Trump, and this dude's just standing there. He doesn't. This is so funny. What? I forgot he was even there, dude. He's just sitting there, and then Trump is just gonna go on. Trump will go for a fucking hour. Okay, he will go for a whole hour until his own people are like, bro, you got to go deal with the Middle East. Hold on, let me go back a little bit. Let's watch the prime minister in his posture. He's just standing there.
Most of those people are in the cities, all blue cities, all blue cities, all Democrat-run cities, and they think they're going to use them to vote. It's not going to happen.
Dude, he can't be standing here next to somebody saying all this stuff. Canadians are going to be so pissed. They're going to be so pissed about this. This guy's thinking about his own shit right now. He's like, I need to get away from this guy. This is not gonna help me. Like, cause Trump's just, oh my God, this is actually golden and fantastic. I didn't realize how special this was until I even made it to the very end. Like, I had an idea of like, is he gonna have to stand there for 7 minutes? But that was 7 minutes of gold. Oh my God, dude, this is historic. This needs to be like Canada. This is fucking hilarious from an American perspective. Okay, I'm just saying. That is so funny. The dude's just standing there the whole time, and he's like, I've had enough. He's got to go. He can't be around this anymore. Trump will keep going, and now he's talking about, he's like, yeah, we need to target the Democrat cities where all the illegals are because they're sanctuary cities. All this stuff that's like super like taboo in Canada, bro. This is taboo language in Canada. You don't say this kind of shit, right? Let alone stand next to somebody that's saying that kind of shit. You know, you're gonna be publicly ostracized. I want to know how Canadians are responding online to this guy standing here next to Trump. You're literally just being here.
No, Thank you. If you don't mind, I'm going to exercise my role, if you will, as G7 chair, since we have a few more minutes with the president and his team, and then we actually have to start the meeting to address some of these big issues. So, alors merci beaucoup pour vos questions. That's it. Thank you very much.
Trump will go for a whole hour, dude. That guy just escaped.